deserves it. She's one of the best players that's ever played the game, touched the ball. So, I mean, not only a great person, great basketball player, really great leader for our team. So I feel lucky enough to learn from her every single day.
To start your season 2025 with a triple-double, what message does that tell you about where you belong in this league?
But yeah, we were hunting her. They were making it hard on us, but we were trying to get switches and everything, but we finally got it. And at the free throw line was pretty crazy, and let the fans cheer for her was awesome.
This wasn't just a game, it was domination. The Indiana Fever humiliated the Sky by 35 points, broke 11 records, and gave fans a historic season opener. But it's not just the scoreboard. Clark's explosive triple-double, Boston's incredible shot blocking, and Bonner's milestone created some unforgettable highlights. Let's dive into the action and witness history in the making.
You know, I think just keep getting better every single night, continue to set my teammates up. You know, I know we put up 93 points and won by 30, but I felt like we could have been a lot better. So we go back to work.
But it's amazing. I'm just honored to be in this moment, in this group, with this group, this team, this fan, this city. It's been great.
You know, we have hard games coming up. That's the thing about this league. You have a couple days, it's on to the next, on to the next. So how do we keep getting better?
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Did Caitlin Clark just redefine the meaning of dominance in the WNBA? Because what she did against the Chicago Sky was nothing short of extraordinary. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Those are ridiculous numbers. And let's not forget, triple doubles don't come easy in the WNBA. They're rare, so rare that we hadn't even seen one in this season until now. Yet Clark didn't just rack those stats up. She put on a masterclass in how to control an entire game, and she made it look effortless.
Caitlin Clark's hard foul on Angel Reese. Essentially, Angel Reese gets the ball, Caitlin Clark goes over, does a hard foul, commits a hard foul on Angel Reese. She falls to the ground. Aliyah Boston steps in and kind of stops Angel Reese. Courtney Vandersloot also steps in. Now with this play, they did call a flagrant 1 on Caitlin Clark. They said that it was unnecessary.
Coming into this matchup, the pressure on Clark couldn't have been higher. Think about it. This is a player who was all over the headlines after her insane college career. People were throwing around words like generational talent and comparing her to basketball greats before she'd even set foot on a WNBA court. And while she silenced her fair share of doubters during her first season, that doesn't mean the expectations eased up. In fact, with every record she broke, the spotlight got even brighter. The question for this game wasn't just whether she'd perform well, it was whether she could rise above the hype to deliver something unforgettable. Spoiler alert, she did. The first quarter set the tone. Clark opened by threading a perfect bounce pass. A vision so sharp you'd think she had eyes in the back of her head, leading to a clean mid-range jumper from DeWanna Bonner. Moments later, she stepped behind the three-point arc, took her shot without hesitation, and drained it. That effortless stroke sent a big message. This wasn't going to be an average game for anyone on the Fever's roster. And from there, she didn't slow down. Clark kept her teammates involved with no-look passes that looked impossible to pull off until the ball was already in someone else's hands. And yet, whenever things got tight, she wasn't afraid to call her own number. Picture this: the shot clock winding down, a defender in her face, and Clark still pulling up from way beyond the arc. Swish! The crowd erupted, but her face, calm, focused. Just another day in the office for her. Let's talk rebounding for a second, because that part of Clark's game doesn't get enough credit. At just 6 feet tall, she's out there battling players taller and stronger, snagging boards like it's second nature. One rebound in particular stood out. A missed shot bounced awkwardly off the rim, and with 2 Chicago players already boxing out, it looked like an easy grab for them. But here comes Clark, sliding in at the last second, leaping higher than anyone else to secure possession. And the best part, she immediately turned that rebound into a fast break assist down court, setting up Aliyah Boston for an effortless layup. Plays like that don't show up in highlight reels as much as deep threes do, but they're the moments that shift momentum and deflate the other team. By halftime, she already had a double-double, and the buzz in the arena was that she was on pace for another triple-double, a stat line she'd already become synonymous with in her short career. When the final buzzer sounded, she'd made history yet again. Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 3 career triple-doubles, doing it in just 41 games. That's faster than some players rack up basic milestones. To put it in perspective, this record wasn't even on anyone's radar when she first entered the league. Most players spend years, maybe even their entire careers, hoping to notch 1 or 2. Clark's already rewriting the standards in less than 2 seasons. And if breaking one record wasn't enough, her triple-double also tied her for the second most 20-point triple-doubles the league has ever seen. What's insane is that she's not chasing these numbers for glory. This performance wasn't about stats. It was about leadership. She dictated the pace of the game like a seasoned veteran, controlling every possession to keep the Fever's advantage unshakable. Chicago switched up defenses, tried double teaming her, even played aggressively to try to throw her off rhythm. None of it mattered. Clark saw every move coming and adjusted in real time, making decisions that turned dangerous situations into easy buckets for her team. That's not just skill, that's basketball IQ at the highest level. Something about the way she's able to elevate her teammates is worth mentioning too. Her assists weren't simply about finding the open player, they were about creating opportunities. Clark's court vision unlocked options her teammates didn't even know existed. This wasn't just about piling on offensive numbers, it was about shaping the game, turning a solid Fever squad into an unstoppable unit. When Aliyah Boston and Alyssa Smith started sealing defenders in the paint, Clark rewarded them. When DeWanna Bonner found space beyond the arc, Clark got the pass to her in perfect rhythm. Every player on the floor was better with Clark running the show, but arguably the most impressive part of her performance was her composure. It's one thing to score or assist when your team is up big. It's another to lead when the opposing team is actively gunning to shut you down. Chicago pushed hard in the third quarter, momentarily closing the gap to single digits, but Clark answered with one of her signature deep threes. So deep you'd think she was auditioning for a 4-point line. And just like that, the momentum swung back in the Fever's favor. It was a performance that didn't just solidify her place in the league, but also cemented her role as the unquestionable leader of this Indiana squad. And here's where it gets even better. Clark wasn't carrying the team alone. While her offensive brilliance had fans on their feet, someone else was deployed at the other end of the court, making sure Chicago never stood a chance. But Caitlin wasn't the only one making history. Let's talk about Aliyah Boston and how she turned defense into an art form. What's more electrifying than watching an offense light up the scoreboard? Simple. A defense so dominant it completely strips the other team of hope. Enter Aliyah Boston. While Caitlin Clark had people buzzing about her triple-double, it was Boston's stellar play on the defensive end that turned this from a win into a blowout. 19 points, 13 rebounds, and a ridiculous 5 blocks. That's not just a great night, it's a defensive clinic, and performances like that don't just happen every week in the WNBA. For starters, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Chicago came into this game with some serious offensive firepower. Their roster is loaded with players who know how to push the pace and attack weak points. And they've got Angel Reese, a rising star who's basically a walking bucket. But here's the thing about scoring. It can't happen if someone's there to shut it all down. Boston was that someone, and she turned their offensive plans into complete chaos. Chicago couldn't find an answer, no matter what they tried. It wasn't just the blocks themselves that crushed the sky. It was how she delivered them. Let me set the scene for you. Fourth quarter, Chicago's trying to claw their way back into the game. Angel Reese drives into the lane, ball in her left hand, looking for what seemed like an easy layup. She's one step from finishing the play until Boston rises up like a wall and sends it flying into the stands. That wasn't just a block, it was a statement. She didn't just stop possessions, she stopped Chicago's mental momentum. Anyone watching in that arena could tell. Every time she denied a shot, the energy drained out of the sky while the Fever fed off it. Boston wasn't just defending, she was controlling the flow of the game. But it wasn't just the flashy rejections. Boston's positioning was flawless all night. One play stands out in particular. Chicago tried to swing the ball out to their three-point shooter, clearly hoping to escape the paint where Boston was anchored. But as soon as they made the pass, Boston rotated to the perimeter. It was less than a second before she got there and swatted the would-be three-point shot into her teammates' hands. That level of awareness is what separates great defenders defenders from good ones. Most people focus on the big numbers, the blocks, the boards, but Boston's court awareness is its own weapon. She was everywhere at once, helping, recovering, and switching onto mismatches with ease. And what's even crazier, a stat line like 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocks isn't just rare, it's historic. Boston became only the second player in WNBA history to put up those numbers in a season opener, and believe me, that's as good of an opening statement as you'll ever see. It's also not just about what those numbers mean for her personally. With defensive performances like this, Boston set the tone for the Fever's identity going forward. Teams are gonna have to ask themselves how they're supposed to score in the paint when she's patrolling it like that. Now, you can't talk about this game without mentioning how Boston's defensive brilliance worked hand in hand with Caitlin Clark's offensive fireworks. Because here's the thing, defense isn't just about shutting things down at one end of the court, it's about creating opportunities for your teammates on the other end. And Boston did that over and over. Every blocked shot, every rebound turned into a fast break. Clark knew where to be every time, sprinting down court or positioning herself for the outlet. And Boston didn't hesitate. They had this unspoken connection where one player's defensive effort immediately became another player's scoring chance. It was absolute poetry in motion. The chemistry between those two isn't something you can teach. It's years of basketball IQ meeting raw talent. Boston would clear the boards, then fire off outlet passes to Clark, who would either find someone cutting to the rim or pop off a transition three. Put yourself in Chicago's shoes. What do you even do against that? You think you've got the tempo back on your side, but then Boston shuts you down and Clark's already putting points on the board before you can recover. That dynamic alone is why this duo is poised to run over the rest of the league if they keep playing like this. Here's what makes Boston's night so inspiring though. Last season, she had her share of ups and downs, like any rookie adjusting to the speed and physicality of the WNBA. But this version of Boston, this is the player the Fever drafted first overall. Confident, dominant, and unshakable. This performance wasn't just about skill, it was about how much she's grown as a leader on this team. When it gets tough, she's the one they look to. Performances like this solidify her as the backbone of this team, and that trust is earned, not given. And let's not forget how much this kind of defensive intensity wears out the other team. By the fourth quarter, the Sky were mentally checked out. Boston didn't just stop their scoring, she crushed their will to keep fighting. You could see it in the way their shots got sloppier, hesitation crept into their drives, and passes started missing their marks. That's what Boston does. It's more than blocking shots, it's owning the paint to the point where teams rethink their entire game plan. But while the young stars were rewriting the record books on this night, a veteran for the Fever had a show-stopping performance of her own. Let's talk about how DeWanna Bonner brought the crowd to its feet and made history in her own right. This game wasn't just another tally in the win column for the Indiana Fever. It was a statement, with Clark dishing no-look assists and drilling deep threes, Boston swatting shots back into the stands, and Bonner proving that veterans still shine. The Fever sent a loud message to the rest of the league. Records were shattered, team chemistry was on full display, and the Chicago Sky simply couldn't keep up. Now the question is, how far can this unstoppable trio take the Fever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. One thing's clear, this is just the beginning for Indiana.